Welcome to today's Explainer. If you've ever sat there wondering why the rich just seem to keep getting richer while everybody else is, well, basically running on a treadmill going nowhere, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to completely tear down and rebuild how you think about wealth creation.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How on earth does a person making just $25,000 a month eventually end up sitting on a fortune of 51 crores? Just take a second and let that sink in. I know, it sounds totally impossible, right? Like some kind of financial fairy tale. But I promise you, by the end of our explainer today, you're going to see the exact mathematical blueprint of how this actually happens in the real world.
Section 1, the wealth gap reality. Now, before we get into those massive numbers, we really need to address a super frustrating reality. You, like millions of other people, are probably working incredibly hard, putting in endless hours, and yet you're still not getting rich. Just look at this reality check. A tiny 5% of the global population is holding on to a staggering 95% of the world's wealth. Meanwhile, the other 95% of us, we're exhausting ourselves fighting over that leftover 5% of the pie. And this isn't just happening in one specific country. It's a global, undeniable truth.
So what's the real difference between these two groups? Honestly, it isn't raw intelligence, and it's not just blind luck. It all comes down to mindset. See, the middle-class mindset assumes that to make more money, you literally just need to work more hours. Jumping from an 8-hour shift to a 12 or 16-hour grind. And when they finally do make a little extra cash, they usually go out and buy liabilities, things like fancier phones or newer cars. But the wealthy, they have this incredible secret weapon: time leverage. Instead of trying to work 24 hours a day themselves, a wealthy person will hire, say, 10 people for 8 hours each. They're effectively buying 80 hours of productivity in a single day. They don't work for money. They have people and their money working for them. Section 2, the magic of compounding.
I am genuinely so excited to share this next part with you. We're going to look at the absolute core engine of exponential wealth. Actually, Albert Einstein famously called this the eighth wonder of the world. Let's look at three friends, Ram, Shyam, and Ghanshyam. They all start investing, but at very different stages in life. Ram starts young, at 20, investing $6,000 a month. Shyam starts at 30, putting in $15,000. And then there's Ghanshyam. He panics at age 40, realizes he is way behind, so he aggressively starts investing $25,000 every single month. Now, what's really interesting here is the total amount invested. Look at this. Ghanshyam puts in the most by far, a total of 60 lakhs straight out of his own pocket. Ram puts in the absolute least, just 28.8 lakhs. So basic logic tells us Ghanshyam should end up being the wealthiest, right?
Wrong. Assuming a standard 15% interest rate, Ghanshyam ends up with 3.79 crores. Shyam does better with 10.51 crores. But Ram completely crushes both of them, walking away with a mind-blowing 18.84 crores. How is that even possible? It's simply because Ram gave compounding 40 years to work its magic, while Ghanshyam only gave it 20. When it comes to building real wealth, time in the market is vastly more powerful than the amount of cash you initially throw at it.
But wait, it gets even crazier. That 18.84 crores, that was based on a 15% return. What if Ram just educated himself a tiny bit more? What if he took the time to study the markets, refined his strategy, and bumped his return up by just 3%? If he manages an 18% return instead of 15%, his final wealth mathematically explodes to exactly 51 crores. Yep, that is the answer to the question we started with. Just a tiny 3% difference in financial knowledge literally transforms 18 crores into an unbelievable 51 crores. Section 3. Accelerating your returns. Now, while 15% or 18% is absolutely phenomenal for your average investor, the ultra-rich, they definitely do not stop there. They use vehicles like business and real estate to accelerate these returns even further. Let's demystify exactly how they do this by breaking down a classic real estate transaction. So imagine an investor makes an 8 crore investment. First, they buy a prime piece of land for 5 crores, and then they spend another 3 crores building 4 beautiful floors on it. Fast forward to the end of the project, maybe a couple years later, and they sell those 4 floors for 3 crores each. That brings it a total of 12 crores.
So the crucial point we need to focus on here is the math behind this flip. They invested 8 crores and they walked away with 12 crores. That is a cool 4 crore profit in roughly 2 years. When you actually break that down, you are looking at a massive 25% annual return on their money.
And for savvy business people who really know what they're doing, hitting a 25% to even 36% annual return isn't some wild fantasy. It's a completely routine expectation.
Let's move on and see how this builds over time, because the compounding effect here is just jaw-dropping. If you invest a mere 8 lakhs and consistently hit that 25% business return, in 10 years, you're sitting on 7.4 crores. If you don't need the money and just leave it alone for 20 years, it balloons to over 27 crores. And if you have the patience to leave it for 30 years, your initial 8 lakhs turns into 327 crores. I mean, wow. This completely proves the exponential math of the wealthy. They aren't magically working billions of times harder than you. Their money is just compounding at a much, much higher velocity. Section 4. Building generational wealth. This is the part where I really want to speak directly to your ambition, because you actually have the power to break the cycle of poverty right now. You aren't just learning this stuff for yourself. You are the main character, the protagonist in your family's financial story. Imagine this. You work incredibly hard, you increase your primary income, and you commit to investing 5 lakh rupees every single month at a very reasonable 14% return. But you don't just do it for your lifetime. You set up a solid system, you educate your kids, and this investment continues to roll over for 99 years. The final number? 41 lakh crore. I know, that sounds like a completely impossible legacy, but mathematically speaking, it is an absolute certainty if you just stick to the formula.
There's this really beautiful saying I love. Every middle-class family has one person born who changes the entire lineage's face. Just let that resonate for a second. I want to ask you directly, are you ready to be that one transformative person for your family? Are you ready to draw a line in the sand today and say, the financial struggle stops with me?
Section 5. Your next action steps. I know we've tossed around some truly astronomical numbers today, so let's bring it right back down to earth. Here is your exact game plan, some highly practical advice that you can literally start executing today. First, you must learn high-paying skills. You've got to break out of that standard salary trap. Second, use those new skills to drastically increase your primary income, because you need solid cash flow to feed that compounding machine we talked about. And third, invest aggressively based on your own risk tolerance, whether that's in equity, debt, or real estate. In fact, I highly encourage you to take a quick screenshot of this right now. Keep it saved on your phone and make it your daily roadmap for wealth planning. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final, very urgent thought. The clock on your compounding is ticking right now. Will you remain a mere consumer of your time, just trading your precious hours to pay the bills? Or are you going to take action today and become an investor for your lineage, changing your family's destiny forever? The math is completely proven. The choice? Well, that's entirely yours.